if I had a nickel every time someone said that to me.
This movie gives that phrase a whole new meaning. Hello, I am Sabrina.
And I am Robert. And today we are reviewing 1987's Hellraiser, which is directed, written by, and based on the short story written by Clive Barker.
Creative there.
He's very creative, and he's made a lot more Hellraiser movies after this one. What's this one about?
Well, to sum it up as briefly as I can, Hellraiser is about a woman named Julia who starts killing people to revitalize her newly resurrected brother-in-law / lover Frank, so that he can escape the demonic beings called the Cenobites who are trying to drag him back to their hellish underworld. I think that sums it up.
Frank, what are you doing here? We're going to get rid of Frank temporarily. At the time, Ashley Lawrence plays young Kirsty, the sort of the heroine of the film.
Julia's stepdaughter.
Julia is sort of the evil stepmom, yeah.
Indeed.
It's just like Cinderella. She's played by Claire Higgins.
Yes.
Andrew Robinson plays the dad, Larry. Andrew Robinson is, of course, Garrick on Deep Space Nine.
Indeed.
And then a couple people played Frank. Really, 3 people played Frank. There's Frank, normal Frank.
Alive
Frank, yes. Sure. But he was a British actor.
And this was for an American audience.
Clive Barker was originally set it in London and everything. The producers and the studio said, we want to hit up the American audience, so we'll film it over here in London and all that crap. But we're going to set it in America. So the guy that played Frank, they dubbed his voice with an American actor's voice.
And sadly, at some points, you can tell it has been dubbed.
I mean, they did a good job, but it's, it's like half the movie is dubbed, and, there's going to be some inconsistencies. So that's 2 people that played Frank, and then they had a third guy.
Yes.
Frank gets kind of effed up
putting it mildly.
when he's in hell.
Then resurrected Frank, he doesn't just come back at once. There's stages.
Yeah.
That's why she needs to kill people.
Yeah.
It's a long story. I don't recommend.
He's disgusting.
After this.
He's disgusting.
You won't have an appetite for
And that's a different actor. We'll call him Frank. The monster is played by someone else.
Did a great job. He was quite scary.
Yeah. Now, the movie opens with Frank, like the opening scene is Frank...
living Frank.
Alive Frank purchases the puzzle box, which has become a whole motif for the whole Hellraiser series. Yes. Do you know what the actual name of the puzzle box is? It has a name.
I did not know it.
It is called the Lament Configuration.
That makes sense because once you solve this puzzle box, it summons the Cenobites who then drag you down to hell and basically fill you with hooks and torture you for eternity.
Well, it just opens a doorway to hell. They don't always come right away.
Well, they find you.
They will eventually find you. And they found Frank, but the Hellraiser series went, it evolved. This movie, this first movie, the Cenobites, Clive considered them sort of the policemen.
They don't really show up until about halfway through the film.
No, it's because Frank escapes from hell, and
which
the Cenobites need to take him back. I mean, later movies, they have different motivation, the Cenobites. Yes. But this one, they're like demon cops, kind of.
Yes, because Frank is not a nice person.
No.
We are not rooting for Frank.
But the first 10 minutes is horrifically bloody.
Yes.
He plays with the puzzle box. He gets shredded, basically. So Claire Higgins, who plays Julia, does not like horror movies.
Fun fact.
She went to the premiere. She watched the first 10 minutes, which is probably the bloodiest or the second bloodiest 10 minutes of the movie, and she walked out. She couldn't take it, and she still hasn't watched the whole movie to this day.
Which is a testament for the actress who has read the script, who shot the film. She can't watch.
Who had fake blood put on her in the filming and all that stuff.
Who was involved in these bloody, gruesome scenes.
It's a low budget. Even by 1987 standards, it was $1 million budget, which is low for a well done feature film. But it made over $20 million. It's like a cult classic.
And it started a huge franchise. There's 10 Hellraiser films
I
now?
lost count because they stopped numbering them consecutively, like after Hellraiser 3, and then they just started giving them different names. So I cannot keep track.
Yes. But for a film that relies mostly on special effects and makeup for a low budget, it's pretty good.
Special effects were practical effects for the most part. My favorite sequence is a 10-minute sequence where sort of Frank comes out of hell and starts to reassemble himself. It's horrific.
A bit of stop motion, I think, was used in that.
And stop motion in reverse. They reversed the film, but it's pretty great. You know what's going on, but it's gross.
So needless to say, there is a lot of blood, there is a lot of gore, and there's a good deal of nudity.
Oh my goodness. There's a lot of sex and nudity. The big bosom alert is just after 18 minutes. It's quick, but you get to see Julia's bazooms.
Multiple times. Horrible goof alert. About an hour and 10 minutes in, I'd say. Kirsty is running through a hallway being chased by a horrific demon.
Yeah, she's in hell at that point.
She's in hell at this point, yes. Now, the Cenobites have yet to show up, but their pet, it seems, which anatomically I don't know how it moves, because its head is on the ground. Anyway, it's very scary to look at.
Got a couple sets of arms, you know.
Yes, it is kind of pulling itself without actually touching the wall. Anywho, she is running, as people do in horror films, as slowly as she can. But the goof is you can see the trolley and the people pushing it behind the monster the entire time.
It's terrible.
Almost as terrible as the monster and her acting.
Well, I would not disparage my lovely Ashley Lawrence.
Was her first horror film.
That was her first, definitely her first feature film.
Yes.
She might have done some shorts before that, but this is way early on her credit list on IMDb.
I do appreciate her. I thought she did a very good job of convincing me she was scared, but she kind of has the same expression throughout the whole film. She looks scared going to the bathroom.
Yeah, but she's smoking hot.
That is true. She's quite good looking.
Lines from the movie. We have such sights to show you.
Where? We'll tear your soul apart.
You and everyone I've ever dated. It's pumpkin rating time.
Indeed.
What do you think?
This is difficult because on the scare and gore factor, they probably spend most of the budget on that. So I would give it at least 1.
At least 1?
At least 1. Now, the actors did try their best, so I would say at least a 3.
At least 3? I'm giving this one 4.
I would settle on 3.5.
4.
Very well.
I like this
4.
movie. I mean,
I enjoyed it.
There's some errors and one giant goof where you could see the man running the monster puppet. But look, it's got a franchise that's got 9 or 10 movies in it. I mean,
and it has spurred one of my favorite monsters, the lead Cenobite, who was fondly named Pinhead by the makeup artist for obvious reasons.
Pinhead? But by the way, that officially became his name later. It was a nickname in this movie. It was just called Lead Cenobite. Do you know that he felt bad? He went to the wrap party when they were done.
The actor playing.
Yeah, the actor, Doug, and nobody talked to him. And he was like, well, I thought everybody were nice to me. And then he realized.
No one recognized him.
Nobody knew what he looked like under his makeup.
Understandable, Goof.